Well, my battery just ran out, so I'm going to do just a little bit more on this next recording, and we'll finish up our topic for today. All right, we've just finished the anterior lobe. Now we're going to look at the posterior lobe hormones, and there are two of these, oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone, also known as vasopressin, which I will not use that word on your test. We'll just do ADH. Okay. So don't worry about vasopressin, but you may have heard of that before. Medically, you may have heard of it. Anyway, I've already discussed with you the control for the posterior lobe of the pituitary. And remember that these two hormones, even though we call them posterior lobe hormones, they're actually produced by those neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus, not through the releasing hormones. That's for anterior lobe. These are totally different neurosecretory cells whose axons extend all the way down into the posterior lobe and release the hormone at that point. Okay? All right, and the two hormones are ADH. We're going to talk about ADH a lot when we get to the chapter on the kidneys, but for right now, all you need to know is that its target cells are at the kidneys and it causes them to retain water. So you know if you have a medication that has an antidiuretic in it, you lose water weight. Okay, this does the opposite of that, but in a roundabout way that helps control your blood pressure. Anyway, it's a very important hormone, ADH. All right, then oxytocin is another hormone from the posterior lobe that has functions mostly in females. I've read a little bit about some functions in males. Your book says it has no known function, but it's not real definite with males. But in females, it does two big things, and we'll see it again when we do the reproductive chapter. But it's one of the hormones. It is the big hormone of labor. It causes the uterus to contract, and so that helps to initiate labor. If a woman has labor induced, she's being given an artificial form of this. It's called Pitocin. You may have heard of that. Another thing it does with women is when a woman is nursing, prolactin causes her to make milk, but that milk's not going to go anywhere unless oxytocin kicks in. Oxytocin causes it to move into the duct so that the baby can get it. Okay. I've also heard another action of oxytocin is that of memory loss. And maybe that's why women choose to have more than one child. Because you produce a lot of this during labor. But you tend to forget how painful that is. I don't know. That took y'all a while to catch on, didn't it? Okay. All right, so here you see all of the hormones that we've just talked about. You see these of the anterior lobe, okay? And these two, remember, those two are both lumped together as the gonadotropins. And that's the word you have to know for me, gonadotropins, okay? And you just need to know the minimum function I've already told you, okay? But for every one of these anterior lobe hormones, they will not be produced unless what? There's a releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, releasing factor, which is a hormone from the hypothalamus, releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, all of these, releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. Okay, that's the source of control. All right? So you need to know prolactin on your test. Where is it made? Anterior pituitary. What causes it to be made? A releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. What does it do? It causes milk production. Okay, so those are the things you would need to know about that and all these others. Okay? And then the posterior lobe, you have ADH and you have oxytocin, and you need to know their functions, and their source of control is not really a big deal for your test. You just need to know where they're released. Technically, they're hypothalamic hormones, but we call them posterior lobe hormones because of the place they get into the bloodstream. Okay, and then know what they do, which I've already talked about. Okay? All right, that's just one of the endocrine glands. That's the pituitary gland. But that is by far the most complex one as far as your test is concerned, because there are a lot of hormones there. Okay? Do you see now why it's sometimes called the master gland? Okay, it produces a lot of hormones. Oh, next time, that's for me to know. I need to update the rest of the notes. Sorry. But next time, we will cover the rest of this chapter, and then we'll be done with Unit 1, and you'll have your first test. Okay?